So here's the mess that I've been making on this bedside. Like I said, it was really curved in. And of course, when I did this, it really kind of potato chipped out here. I could have probably used less heat on here when I did it. But regardless, it's right now, it's a little rippy, a little bit. But generally pretty good. I have this on there holding it straight just to replicate the bed support that's going to be on there. And what I ended up doing was, I put my porta power in here and I had it up against a piece of steel here. I just set there, and then I tacked another one up here, and I pushed on that here, and then I took my strap, which is hooked to the frame, to the top here, and I pulled it. Now, like I said, this is pretty heavy steel. So I pulled it, and this is what I did is I heated along here, hammering it a little bit along that piece of metal stock that was on the inside there. So I heated it up, and I started quenching in spots too to help shrink. Because you'll get to like an oil can effect here and there. So you'll want to do that. Some of these little, like there's a little high spot right there. I can hammer and dolly that stuff out. I'm not going to keep putting heat on here, keep hitting heat on here, because what'll happen is you'll end up destroying it more. In fact, I was worried that I was going that direction, but right now this looks pretty straight, relatively speaking. So I think I can work with what I got here as far as on the bodywork side of things, and then I can still do a little hammer and dolly. So what I'm going to do now is I will strip this, and I will prep and prime this side to match the rest of the bed, and that'll get me started. Like I said, on bodywork. Now, some of the metal work isn't perfect. I'm not a metal perfectionist here. I only have as good as equipment as I have, and can only go so far. So some of this will be taken care of in bodywork, meaning some filler. Other parts, I will still do a little metal work while I'm doing bodywork. So it won't be necessarily perfect right yet. It will get nice. It'll get there. I was, like I said, concerned. I could have had something bent up, I suppose, but I kind of wanted to keep something original on it. And this is what I got. So that should do it. Here's an update on what I'm doing and what I've done. I did weld these on. These are the original ones. I have to fill this in yet with some steel. I cut the latch hook off here. I just threw some spray bomb primer on it right now, and I want to sand these again. But anyway, I spot welded them all on. And I primed where I went through, or where my clamps were, because I clamped it all tight, leveled it and everything with the box. And you can see this one too, got this one on. These are a little different, and the 36, 7, and 8 are a little different than the 39 and up. This swoop comes down, and then on the 39 and up, they kind of curve back down here, and they're narrower here, where this lip isn't as long, as wide here. So they are a little different. And I just thought, well, I really want the uniqueness of the 36, 7, and 8 here. So anyway, you can see that I welded it all the way down here. I just, like I said, did some spray bomb primer on it. I filled in the holes here on the other side. As you can see, there are no, I filled those all in right there. Okay. So there's no bolts that are going to be bolting this on. This is all welded on now. So I did that, and then I started stripping this side back down again as it looked, kind of grungy like this. Like I said, I put a rust converter on it all over the whole thing because of these little rust pockets here that were there. Although this whole thing was blasted, I wasn't convinced that everything was out of every little nook and cranny. So anyway, I started stripping this down, as you can see here, and on this side here. Again, you can see some darker spots where some of that rust damage was. That's where I'm at right now. I got some more sanding to do and everything on this side. And then I'm going to prime and seal this, or seal and then prime it. And then I'll put the side supports on. The reason I do that is so I know that there's good primer and sealer behind the support. I will be drilling holes and spot welding it, and it'll be pretty good. But then I also have, these are the supports here, so I do have a weld through primer on these also. So we will, and so then I will, I'm going to tack weld this piece to the floor in several spots along here. Now I'm not going to weld it solid. I'm just going to tack weld it. Maybe, I'm thinking maybe, maybe 2 tacks per row. A nice good tack here and a nice good tack here, here, like that. Then I'll kind of grind them just a little bit. Then I'm going to seam seal that because it'll also be, like I had said before, it's also going to be welded on this side. So it's not going to go anywhere. It's not even going to probably flex much, if at all. But the seam sealer will take care of that. And the seam sealer is going to take care of these corners, both sides. So I'll get that all seam sealed. Then I got to see what I've got to do here. Not sure what I'm going to do with bolts yet. We're debating on that one still. If I want to keep them in there or not. I kind of like the idea of smoothing them out, which means welding studs in there. But we're not there. We're going to take care of this rest of this stuff, and then I'll get some primer sealer on it, and I'll take a video of it again of everything sealed. Then the next step after that will be finish welding these on both sides and sealing and priming those areas. And then this will then need the tailgate, kind of running down the way my mind is thinking here. Then I'll need the tailgate, put the hinges on the tailgate, get that all set up, get my locks set up for the tailgate. I got a hidden lock type thing for the tailgate. Get that taken care of. Get all that top stuff buttoned up. Then I'm going to take it back off the frame, flip it upside down, and work on the bottom side. So right now, this is where I'm at. Okay, so what I'm doing today, you can kind of hear my heater running, but see all these spots here? That's where I welded the floor to this front piece. Sanded that because it got little burn marks. Yeah, I know, I already sealed and did all that stuff, but this is my process because I can't always be out here sealing up this metal. This metal really needs to be sealed up good. So anyway, I re-stripped this down. I also stripped all the primer off of these box supports. So I got those all stripped down, got all that stripped down. Same with some of the heat marks that were in here, there, okay? So that's kind of where I'm at. I will get this thing primed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in PPG DP90. It's a sealer. It's a really good sealer. I use it all the time when I'm painting. But I'll seal all this up. I'm going to reseal all these areas in those supports. Then I'll come back on it and do a primer filler on it, because that's a better sanding material. For the DP90, I can prime right over that without sanding it for a certain time frame. So I'll get it all back into this. Both primers can handle filler, so we'll get that done. And then I'll put these side supports on. I'll weld those, fix the burn marks and everything that happens there, and I'll just seal and prime those. Then this box is getting ready for being flipped upside down to do the back side. So I'll show you when I'm done. So now I got all this in primer sealer DP90. Just finished it. And this is what I did, as I sealed along there again. That's where I put the seam sealer, did some welding, did some seam sealing. And then of course up this side, which is where I had some welding, and I ground that out and sealed that along with this. And the bed supports, got those all in primer sealer now. Previously I had that in a little primer. It was just a rattle can primer, so I stripped them all back off and put the DP90 on it. The reason I put rattle can primer on there is because I didn't want them to rust all over again. And that primer is pretty easy to get off, so I just stripped them like that with a wire wheel and some sandpaper. And then of course I did this side. Again, where some of it was welded, along this edge here. Then there was some welding spots through here from where I did the floor to the back here, welded it. You can see here, that's welded, and then it's got some sealer in it, some seam sealer. That seam sealer I can work, so it's paintable and all that other kind of stuff. So after I get a good coat of filler primer on there, and maybe just a touch of filler here and there, that'll be all smoothed out. So anyway, this is where I'm at right this minute. I will be putting all this, like I said, into the primer filler, which is the K36. Right now I'm just going to let this dry. I have up to a week to shoot it in top coat it, but I may do that sooner than that. But I like to do that, so then that way I don't have to re-scuff all this. I can just scuff that kind of primer. That primer is a little easier to work with than this primer. But like I said, this will accept something over without priming it up to, I think, a week. So, but there it is. So here it is in K36 primer. You can see it's all done. This little dark mark there, that's a little overspray from my DP90. That'll sand off. All that'll sand off easily. It's like dusty. So this is it. You got the supports on, primed. All this is primed. All the front here is all re-primed again, where I had all the tack marks there. That's all primed up again. So we have the inside of this all done. Kind of see down here, you got the seam sealer in there, seam sealer up there. I'm going to seam seal, this corner here after I weld that other support on. which is going to be happening soon. Not sure, but maybe tomorrow. Get this kind of all buttoned up, and it'll help straighten this out. It's a little curved right now, but the supports are right here. I'm gonna have to probably blast them a little bit, and then I will go ahead and put them on. This one here goes on this side. And then I'll do the other one, and you can see it's got weld-through primer on it already. It's also got a, this rougher stuff is a bed liner. I just thought it would be a good protective piece there. So there it is. Bodywork is not all done, of course. It's just getting it ready. I'll get those side pieces on. Then I'm gonna finish welding all these. And when I grind out that and weld those, I will be ready to primer seal that and the supports for that side of the box. After that, then the box goes upside down and gets worked on underneath. So there it is.